Emily, would you like a biscuit? I made them for you for Valentine's Day.
Oh, I'd love a biscuit. I think I'm going to take this one. They're really cute. You have to tell me how you did it.
I will.
We are the dreamers, the light keepers, we are one. This is our time, this is our time. We are the dreamers, the light keepers, we are one. This is our time, this is our time.
Hey guys, Valentine's Day is just around the corner, so we have come up with this really cute Valentine's Day bake for you. And this is perfect to do over the weekend or over the February half term with your pony best friends. So follow along for the recipe and as well how to make all of these different variations. We hope you enjoy it. So for these biscuits, you need 200 grams of butter, 200 grams of sugar, 400 grams of flour, a handful of extra flour to prevent sticking later on, 1 egg, half a teaspoon of vanilla extract, red food colouring, and some optional extras. We also used cocoa powder, your favourite jam, edible eye decorations, and a black icing pen. And then the equipment you're going to need is a mixing bowl, some scales, an electric mixer or a hand mixer if you don't have one, a wooden spoon or a spatula, a rolling pin, greaseproof baking paper, a baking tray, a couple of pony head shaped cutters and a small heart cutter. So to start with, you want to preheat your oven. If you have a fan oven, you want to preheat it to 180 degrees. So we started off by measuring all of our ingredients and we started off by measuring out the sugar. So we used 400 grams of sugar here, but you only need 200 grams. For the sake of the video, we doubled our ingredients so we can make a really big batch of biscuits, but we have popped the ingredient list in the caption, so unless you want to make a huge batch of biscuits, then follow what's in the caption and not what's on our scales. So 200 grams of sugar needs to be measured out, and then as well 200 grams of butter. And just make sure to remember when you put the bowl on the scales to then reset the scales to 0 grams, otherwise it's going to mess up all of your ingredient readings and the weights are all going to be totally wrong. So just remember to zero the scales when the bowl goes on top so you know that you have the right amount of the ingredients. Next you're going to put the butter and sugar into a bowl and cream them together until the mixture is well mixed and light and fluffy. When you're using the electric mixer, make sure to hold on to the bowl really super tight because it will go flying and it will make a mess. And as well, make sure to keep the electric wire out of the way as you don't want that getting tangled up either. Next, you're going to mix in the egg and the vanilla extract. Remember here, we have doubled the ingredient list, so we have used 2 eggs, but you are only going to need 1. So we mixed in the egg and then we added in the vanilla extract. So this is really thick, so it comes out really slowly at first and then it all comes out at once. So be prepared for when it all comes out. You only need a little bit of this as it's really, really strong. So just stir that in. Then you're going to add in the flour to make a dough and you're going to fold it in with your wooden spoon. So you can do this little bits at a time to make sure that it stirs in properly and that you're not being overwhelmed by a massive quantity in your bowl. So we are here just mixing it in section by section. And this bit also did take quite a while. We have got a massive bowl of dough here. If the dough still feels a little bit sticky, then just add in some more flour little by little until you reach the desired texture. So then you want to split up your dough into about 4 sections, and this is because we are going to add food colouring and cocoa powder to some of these sections of dough, but we also want some of this dough to be plain. So we are going to take 1/4 and we're going to add some red food colouring into this. And then little by little, you're going to add the red food colouring. So as you can see, we started here with just a small amount because this stuff is really high concentrated. So you don't need too much. It just depends on the shade of pink that you want. So we started little by little. We just wanted to gauge what the colour was looking like before adding in any more. So here we are just adding in a little bit more until we were really happy with the shade of pink that we have here. So we went for quite a deep pink. pink, and this is so it stands out really nicely against the different colour dough later on. And then we did the same here but with cocoa powder, so this is then making a chocolate flavoured cookie which is brown in colour. So this dough actually felt a little bit too sticky, so we added some more flour to it so it doesn't stick when we roll it out, which we will show you now. So now that all 3 of our coloured doughs are ready to go, it's time to start rolling them out in preparation for them to go into the oven. So with the spare flour that we had from the beginning, we are going to sprinkle this onto our surface, and this is so the dough doesn't stick to our surface and that it all sticks together really nicely. So we're going to start with our plain dough here. So we're going to pop it onto the floured surface and then we're going to roll it out. So we just kind of want to keep moving it around so that it's not sticking. And as well, it's a really good idea to flour the rolling pin, and you can also put flour on top of the dough, and this is also to help the rolling pin not stick to the dough, so it all just stays together nicely. So you want this dough to be around 2 centimeters thick. So once you've gotten to that thickness, it's time to then get your cutters that you wanted to use. So we have gone for a horse-shaped cutter here. So you're basically going to press down gently and make sure you go all the way down. And the surface that we were using here, we weren't too worried about scratching, but if you are, then you can pop this onto a large chopping board and this will help to protect your kitchen surfaces. So we are using the horse-shaped cutter to basically cut out as many possible cookies from this one bit of dough before then rolling out the scraps and going again. So we used all the space that we could, and then we rolled it back out so it's 2 centimeters thick again, and then we went in with a different cutter, and this is so that we can make some different shaped cookies. So just basically using up as much of the dough as possible, as we don't want any waste. So here we've gone for a horseshoe shaped cutter, we've also got a horse shape, and we've also got a horse head. So we've got 3 different cutters here that we're using. So here again, rolling it out, making sure that we're not wasting any of the dough, because we obviously want to eat as many of these cookies as possible. So once you have cut out the cookies from the dough, you're going to then pop these onto the baking paper. And then you can go in with your small heart-shaped stamp, and you're going to basically cut out some love hearts. So you can be creative with this. We have cut out quite a few love hearts because as these are Valentine's Day cookies, we obviously want as many love hearts as possible. So this kind of works as a stamp. So you stamp it in and then it cuts out the love heart shape for you. And if it gets a bit stuck, just give it a wiggle and it should come straight out. And then we're going to do similar but with our red dough. And these are what are going to make the red love hearts. So you're going to roll it out to about 2 centimeters thick again. You're going to stamp out your love hearts, and then you're going to push the love hearts that you've stamped out into the holes that we made earlier on in the plain cookie dough. So it is a little bit fiddly at first, but it's really satisfying to fill in the holes again, and it really brings the cookies to life. So as you can see, we have gone all out with our love hearts. The good thing about making ponies with cookie dough is that you can fix any conformational issues along the way. So we had a few wonky legs which we managed to straighten out really nicely. Also left a few of the horse heads with love hearts left out, and this is because we are going to make a jam variation. So for the jammy variation, making them in pairs is easiest to keep track of the numbers, because in the pairs you need to have one horse head with the love hearts cut out and the other horse head just plain. So we made 3 jammy variations here. So we had 3 horse heads with love hearts cut out and 3 plain horse heads without any cutouts. So once your cookies are ready to go in the oven, you can pop these in the oven, which we preheated earlier, and they need to go in the oven for 8 to 10 minutes or until they are just turning golden brown around the edges. You want to then leave them to cool before we then go on to decorate them further. So once they have cooled, we then went in with our black decorating pen, and this is to put some eyes on the horse head. Kind of looked a bit creepy. What do you think? So these are our plain horse heads because we wanted to make a jam variation. So we have gone for strawberry jam here, but you could use whichever flavoured jam you like, or you could even use Nutella. Whatever your favourite is, go for it. So on the plain horse head, without the love hearts cut out, you want to spread your favourite jam, and then you're going to put the horse head with the love hearts cut out over the top. And this is what makes the gorgeous jammy love hearts. And these will keep in a tin for about 3 days. Look how good they are, and they tasted so nice as well. And you can make these biscuits with any colours and any shapes that you like. So we hope that you can use our video as inspiration and get creative with your baking. So these turned out to be really good. Look how cute they are, and look at all the different variations that we've made. So you can really be creative with this, and as well, if you prefer chocolate over vanilla, then you can obviously do more cocoa powder and less vanilla extract. So you can really play around with the flavours and as well how much you want of each. And these just make the perfect Valentine's Day gift. Unfortunately, they are for human consumption and not for your favourite pony. But yes, make sure to give these to your human best friend and not your pony best friend. I'm going to go and give them to Emily, and I really hope she's going to enjoy them. Let's go and have a look.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Cheers.
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 Mmm.